All sports, all plays, ball courts, pump fakes, crossovers, and some motion. All sports, all plays, ballparks, home base, miss that speed by, that's 3 strikes. We know what's happening in the league. All sports, all plays, ASAP. Cause we know what's going down with your team. We'll bring you up to speed ASAP. Not talking about Rihanna's baby daddy, it's the network covering every play that's happening in the ring, on the field, on the courts, on the lane. We gon' cover the game, all sports, all play. All sports, all plays, ball courts, pump fakes, crossovers, and some motion. All sports, all plays, ballparks, home base, miss that speed by, that's 3 strikes.
What is happening, everybody? This is Josh throwing hands, ASAP Sports Network, hands down the #1 combat show in the game. I'm here with my boy James. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. A little later than when we usually start, but we always got our nose to the grind.
Yeah, man. Like we were talking about, when you do a lot of things, everything can't go right. So you just gotta roll with the punches, adapt as much as you can, and keep the show going, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we just had a great weekend.
Yeah, we had PFA. Man, that was a banger. I still can't get over the moment between Edwin and Jamshid with that BMF moment right at the final round. Yeah. That was nasty.
They definitely paid some homage to what we just seen at UFC 300. But they stood in the ring. They banged it out for the last 20, 30 seconds. And, man, it was already a hell of a fight to begin with before they even got to that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We seen the title change hands again.
That's true.
Bryce ended up edging out True. They already talked about a trilogy coming out. And I mean, dude, Warriors. Yep.
And looking at where we're at right now, we have Muhammad Al-Falasi from Siege MMA that also fought against Ray Peterson, won via split decision. That I personally feel puts him next in line for a title shot, honestly.
Yeah, and we definitely talked about that at the post-fight interview. Me and Muhammad had a second, and Mo said he feels like he definitely carved his path, and it's that time for him. And then he also went a little bit further to say, Siege is on their way to put their mark on PFA.
Yep.
And it's fitting. We are sitting right in the middle of Siege MMA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got a very special guest tonight. And quickly, before we bring him on, I forgot we were going to do this. So for you ladies and gentlemen, we hit our record. So in 1 year and 2 months, we managed to break over 1 million views, 1,050,000. And we started back February 2023 with this Instagram. So this is hands down the dopest thing. It's all because of you guys, the fans, the audience members, the fighters, the coaches, the gyms, all of them. Everybody here. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that.
No, we definitely couldn't have done it without you guys. And when me and Josh started this little thing as far as the Instagram and just getting more further into social media with our reach, we didn't have a vision like this. It was more just to get another platform to put stuff out, and then Instagram just took off, and we're here now, and that leads us to, like you were talking about, our special guest tonight and what we ended up doing and how we're branching off. We're trying to do more things with the documentary, a couple other things we got in the works. The Recharge Center, we just had Kyle at PFA 8, so there's a lot of stuff in the works, but let's talk about tonight.
Yeah, tonight we got to bring on a very special guest, Mr. Benjamin Tai. Let me go and pass the mic over.
Hey guys,
What's
I appreciate
going on,
you guys
man?
for having me.
How you doing, bro?
Not bad, man. You know what I'm doing? I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want to do right now. Yeah, I'm a little bit dried out, but I've been playing this for a while, so yeah, I'm glad you guys came out able to do this for me.
Yeah,
I appreciate
man. We appreciate you being here, and spending the time with us, especially so close to your pro debut.
Yeah, this Saturday, April 27th.
Yeah, April 27th. It's like we started filming about 3 to 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah, I think about 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe like a month and a half. We started doing this. We were talking about that's right, because it was at the barbecue that we had.
Yeah.
So that's when we first talked about it, and we were going over everything, and then just since then, slowly getting everything. And also, not only that, but you've had to go through 3 straight camps because you had 2 other fights pulled out. Is that right?
Yeah. So I would say it's 2 camps. I got the call from my manager, counselor, whatever she wants to be called. You know, she told me, I mean, honestly, she's been begging me to box and pushing me to make money through boxing, even last year. But I had an ankle injury. I had things going on like that. So that stopped me from doing it. And then finally she said, okay, February 24th, Iron Boy, let's get you, I'm the boxing coach here at Siege. So it's hard to get that look in, at least that training vibe, that camp vibe when I'm the coach. You know, I need someone to push me. I need someone to supervise me. So sent me over to Old School, and I was like, what, January? I think Coach Heath and we met up, and yeah, so it was one camp, and then it fell out. The whole event got pushed back. Yeah, whole event got pushed back. And so I remember, man, looking back at it, like I didn't feel as sharp as I do now. I mean, it's 2 camps in a row. Of course, I better feel sharp, but I felt ready to go. And then when I heard it fell out, that really messed me up for a little bit. I was like, been training for this for a while, got a chip on my shoulder. And, I feel like a lot of people kind of waiting to see what I do. A lot of people counting me out a little bit. And even if that's just like a inward projection that I feel towards other people, even if nobody's saying that, I feel that. And so it's a lot on me now doing another camp. And then I would say this second camp is a little bit more high intensity, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, a lot of pain and just stacking on a training load that I was never used to. Doing 2 camps, I don't know if I'll do it again, just because I want to make sure, I feel ready for the fight. I don't want to be. I'd rather be, a good coach of mine, Coach Gabe, Camwella Kirk. He said, it's better to be, undertrained than overtrained. But for me, I can't stop training right now. I'm April 27th. How many days out? I'm trying to go on a run right now. Like I can't. I'm so antsy, man. I got them telling me, don't go on your 5-mile run. Don't go on your 6-mile run. Chill out. And I'm like, I can't, man. I got to do bag work. Big, huh? Yeah, they're like no sparring. And I'm like, man, like, it's definitely changed my whole chemically. Changed like my body's mindset, my how I do things, my body reacts to things, my training load. It used to be like, let me rest, let me relax. Now I'm like, I want to do more. Even though I know it's at a detriment to my well-being, my health a little bit, I gotta stay locked in. That's how I feel. So a little drained, but yeah.
With this, being your first pro camp, did that sway anything on a mental level inside camp, like in the gym? Your daily routine, things that you kind of did. Did you have any of that? Like, should you change this or should you add this?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I first started again with Old School, of course they were a little bit hesitant. Hesitant with me a little bit. They want to. It's an Old School, majority Mexican style fighters, Mexican style mindset. So, they wanted to see what I was about. And
give you that test a little
bit.
And
they also asked me what my training was like and stuff like that. And before getting ready for this pro fight, I would like to think my training method is pretty high intensity, even for amateurs at the time. You could ask the guys that I train, you can ask all the other, like my teammates. I kind of put myself through hell even as an amateur. But they looked at my metrics, like the actual numbers. Oh, you do 4 miles, okay, let's pick up to 6 to 10. You know, and I was like, for me, that's not so jarring. It's just like a pro's telling me to do that. I'm gonna do that. I can do that. You know. Another shout out to another pro boxer there, Chaka Caesar. You know, he was like, oh, you do 4 miles? Okay, pick it up to 6. I picked it up to 6 the next day, and I haven't done less than that since.
Okay.
You know, they asked me how many times you sparring? 2 days a week. Okay, up to 3. Especially with like, you know, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out is not a lot of time to do things. Where we're like kind of like lifting and stuff like that. We'll kind of kill that out and then replace that for like sparring 3 times a week. And then he asked me again, he's like, how many rounds do you do? You know, as amateurs, we're like, you know, we want to aim for, of course, I think before we had an old coach here, and he would on Fridays make us do 10 rounds, you know, light or not, heavy or not, you're going 10 rounds. With the intensity of the pro fight camp, I haven't gone light. I don't even remember, you know, like touching, working with people. I even tell some of the guys that come in my class, I'm like, you know, if you want to spar with me, like, be careful. You know, I gotta tell them that. I'm not trying to scare them. I act like I'm tough, but you know, a lot of these people don't understand like the mindset we get in when we get ready for a fight. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't got time for anyone who's ignorant to the fact that you're messing with, you know, you playing with somebody who's ready to fuck somebody up, to hurt somebody. You know, I try to tell them like, hey, like I've been pushing myself in this camp. Don't fuck with me. Do the shit right. You know, things like that. I get a little bit antsy. I get a little bit pissy when pissier than I usually am. I'm sure my teammates would say, yeah, this pro camp really just got me into shape. And ever since it's not even just got me into shape. I was in shape, but it got my mindset in shape. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it got me like sharp and ready. And ever since then, I never want to go back to being more lackadaisy, you know, more relaxed, more calm, more cool, just not really worrying about too much. Now I'm like, I always want to be a hawk. I always want to be like, always laser beam focused, ready to go. I don't know. I just want to stay in shape all the time now. Just want to stay in the zone. Even if I, you know, God forbid, I don't fight, you know, and I get older and things happen. I still want to stay in shape. After this, man, I just want to stay in shape, stay ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that where it kind of strives from is that, you know, the greater the ambition, the greater the burden. And the burden represents the sacrifice, the amount of hard work to chase these dreams. And especially in time right now when there's so much activity and it's such a pivotal moment for you to enter into your career, there's a lot that's required. The dedication, the fact that you can't just go around training with random people. That's not going to keep you up to par. Right. You need dangerous opponents and dangerous training partners that's able to push you into deep waters. Yep. So that way, when you are in that situation, you know how to get out of it and dominate. And then continuing off of that, you know, it's like, where did all of this start? You know, from day one, the origin behind your desire to fight, compete, even start training.
Yeah, man. Like, I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. You know, and she even asked me, she's like, is this the right time to be thinking about everything you've accomplished right now, or should you just be locked in? And I was like, a lot of coaches would say both, or say, you know, you can think about it, but real quick,
you gotta leave
get out of it. Yeah, and you know, I just looking back at it, man, it's just a lot of people. Even my manager was saying this too. She, you know, talking, you know, fluffing me up to other people right in front of me. You know, I love her so much, but you know, she's saying stuff like, you know, people around in the community, MMA, Muay Thai, like whatever the fight community is here, a lot of people got at least they again, I feel as if a lot of people do count me out. They think, you know, I'm just some kid, some twerp, some little kid. I'm a 27-year-old grown man. I've been through it. You know, I started boxing back at Iron Gloves. Shout out to Iron Gloves. Back in like 2016, 2017. And then, you know, around there, worked at Chavez Boxing for a while. I learned a lot there as well in terms of etiquette and working and different styles and you know, knowing what to pick from people and knowing what not to pick, you know, and just knowing what works for me. And then just like, man, a whole lot of 9-to-5s. Everybody thinks like, you know, I just started fighting. I was always skinny or I was always this, that, and the third, you know. And I was working 9 to 5, just like most other people, and didn't think much of it. And then before that, when I was in school, high school, even fresh into college, fighting, you can ask anybody who like knows me from high school. Did I do any of this? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I man, I did. I mean, I told you guys a little bit when we were doing our docuseries, but yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I was a little bit of a punk as a kid, just doing dumb shit, and thinking I need to make money in ways that I really didn't need, and I kind of traumatized my own childhood and my own life by like making these bad decisions and getting in trouble when I didn't need to, and a lot of that shit was my fault back in the day. That drives me a lot, to where I am now. It's just so jarring because it's been like what, about 10 years now since I was a kid. Like, I graduated high school in 2015. Man, I was just doing dumb shit. I never thought, Ben Tai with the pro boxing fight. I was good at scrapping. I would get in a lot of fights, and I boxed, but like nowhere on the level that I would think right now. You know what I'm saying? Where like I'm even surprising myself, like on a daily basis. I'm
What can you kind of take, from this camp, mentally, like all those things that you kind of like cycled through your mind. You're talking about what drove you to get into the spotlight. The preparation is a little bit different mentally here. What do you think this is kind of, has this notched you to a different level for your game going forward?
Yeah.
Has this put you in a different place to where you're able to kind of chime into something that you didn't have there before?
Yeah, for sure. Man, I think everyone's like, when they hear I have a wife and I have 2 kids, 5-year-old, 2-year-old, they're automatically going to be like, oh, you must be doing this for your kid. Like, you must be doing this for your babies and your wife. And of course, they're a part of that, a huge part of that. Maybe not in the way that some people think, but they definitely are. I know this might sound a little bit shallow to some or selfish, but if you grew up the way I did and got into the experiences I did as early as I did, then you'd understand that, I am doing this for myself. When I'm out there and I'm sparring, I'm in that ring, I'm sparring and I'm going. It's not like light sparring where I'm with a friend. It's someone I don't know, and we're going at it and we're trying to beat each other. And I'm so close to the fight that I don't really care about how he's gonna feel, whether I'm hitting him in the head. I know there's etiquette and things like that, and I know I'm a coach, but I think that's what it notched me up to. Like, I really don't give a fuck about you. And just, that's just me. When I'm in there, I don't hear my kid go daddy, go. Like, if I force that, I can hear it. But you know what easily comes through right there is my bullies from back in the day. The people who try to fucking scam me, rob me, do me dirty, backdoor me like that. Like, they pop up in there randomly. The little exes that, I don't care at all about. I have a beautiful wife and everything like that and kids. All of a sudden they pop up in there. The girl bullies that were mean to me, that were talking shit about me, saying all like sorts of shit, like they just pop up in there, and it's petty. And I know that. I know I'm petty, but it's driven me so much. A good coach, a good friend of mine back in the day, a good coach. Haven't talked to him in a while, but he said, I think I told you guys this. He said, anger is not a good motivation for fighting because it runs out. But again, like, if you grew up the way I did, and I know there's some people with worse upbringings than me, and they might not agree with me, but it don't run out for me.
But is it? I mean, the way you're explaining it, I think it is not anger no more.
It's changing something for sure.
It's like motivation. It's like that chip, extra,
that chip on
like
that shoulder.
The Nas button.
Yeah.
Like, you need that turbo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it don't sound like it's necessarily anger anymore. It sounds like it's fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I even noticed that right now when you just said that. Like, if you were to ask 18, 19-year-old men back in the day, like how I feel about fighting and things like that, you'd be like, it sounds vicious. It sounds rabid. Like, I don't even think anybody would be impressed. They just be like, he sounds like he needs to be in the gym a little bit more. He sounds like he needs to relax, you know? But now it's like, I know the type of person I am, and I know the type of things that set me off and trigger me. And it's just like, I try to control it as much as I can and use it in a good way. By the end of that bloody ass sparring, I'm checking on the guy. I'm making sure, hey, get your water in, get you this, or come in and do this, do that in the third. Train with us or something like that. You know what I mean? Just trying to stay humane after things, you know, and not be too, how should I say it? I guess disconnected, even though that's what I'm kind of good at doing, is just kind of disconnecting and like not giving a fuck about who you are and doing my thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But as soon as that stops, maybe it's the dad in me or something like that. But as soon as that stops, I'm like, hey, are you all right? You need juice box? You need snacks? Like, yeah. I go right back to coaching. Yeah. That's been a little bit hard too, knowing to tune that in and on and off a little bit, because you know, I'm a young coach. I'm learning every day. I'm not one of these older coaches who are in their groove. They know what they want to do, and you know, like our head coach Santino, you know, the way he trains things. Man, I want to go back to Santino's class, man. I miss Santino so much, man. He stays at this gym and I see him, but like every time I'm like, I miss the team. I think that's the number one thing that I kind of miss, like going all the way back to boxing, since I started with boxing and got into Muay Thai, kickboxing, almost had an MMA fight, then had an injury, then going back to boxing, but as a professional, is the team a little bit. I miss the team, man. You guys were always pushing me, always making me laugh, man. If I was laughing, I was doing good. You know, some coaches are different. They're like, if he's laughing, he's not serious. No, if I'm laughing, I'm dancing, I'm doing my thing. You know, all my guys who corner, all my coaches who corner me, you guys know that's when I'm at my best. If you're trying to like beam down on me and like dog me like that, and I mean, to some people that's good, but for some people like me, where, you know, I'm going home, I'm in the shower, I'm saying those things. I've already saying detrimental shit to myself every night after training. I could be doing amazing, and yet I'm going home, I'm like, could have done better. You got to focus up, young man. Like you got to do better. And you know, maybe that's not healthy, but that's why I'm so fucking sharp right now and ready to go for Saturday. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think that really touches on too, because like in the fighting game, it becomes more prominent with a sense of mortality amongst ourselves. You only have such a small window to make this the most that you can. And part of that as well is the passion, how much you have to dedicate. And, you know, it's like when you think about it, how we think philosophy, things people talk about, you know, it's a shame for a man to not see what his fullest potential is. And that's where a lot of that, like that hunger, that drive, that angered focus that you put into it, it's because you feel not only the mortality that you're 27, you know, this is your prime, you're ready to go, but it's also your passion that you're driven for. And I always say that there's good and bad selfishness, and combat sports brings out good most of the times, because it's what brings you the ability not only to overcome your own trauma, your own past things, but it allows you to have the reward of the fruits of your labors and your ability to bring it to your people, take care of your wife, your kids, and everything. And that's where I feel like there should be like a better connection between like the fans, casuals, and the fighters themselves, because that's such a big part. They don't realize how much sacrifice is needed, that you and your kids, for example, you have to spend time away from your kids to go box, to go train, to do everything necessary. I mean, like even when you got your license for pro, you had to spar in front of the commission to get your license. So it's, at the end of the day, major respect for everything you do. And I give you nothing but reverence for that focus, for that drive, and just how passionate you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think the last thing, like, off that topic is just, you know, again, with that mindset of like, oh, this is just he's a young looking coach, he's this and that. Again, I'm 27. You know, I did my due. I paid my dues. It just feels crazy coming from, like, you know, selling drugs in high school, in college, and then now I'm got kids looking up to me. It's fucking nuts. Like, it's really crazy to me that, like, at some point I really like just didn't care about myself. You know, it was even okay with the aesthetic of doing the shit I did and making wrong choices, and I thought that made me cool, right? I think before I even went to a boxing gym, you know, I picked up a gun instead. You know what I'm saying? To really push the bullies off me or make me feel empowered. You know, and
got that strength.
Yeah. When going to parties, I didn't go to parties because I was invited and popular. I went to parties because a lot of people just wanted me to sell drugs to them. Like that's why I went. And that's why people needed me for shit. And now people need me, hitting me up. Hey coach, this. Hey coach, that. Hey coach, can you watch me do this? Can you watch me do that? It's jarring. And then I have kids. I got how I woke up today. My son, 2, walking in, daddy, up, like, no, boy, stay down there, stay up right now. And I'm like, my alarm didn't even go off yet. It's like 6:45 and these kids are climbing all over me. It really is jarring, and I do try to disconnect myself from that a little bit and just be like, well, you're here now, you're 27, you're not 18, you can't keep on romanticizing and reminiscing about who you were and stuff like that and how far you come. Now you got to think about yourself now and how much further you can go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's how I see it. I think that's what's like numbing me to the fact that I've come a long way, and that a lot of people, other than the only people who really see it, other people who've been with me, my family, my wife, of course, my family, my friends, my close friends, they even before I got this pro boxing fight, when I just was an amateur and I was fighting, they were saying these things like, hey man, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I was like, what do you remember of me? Like, what do you remember the same thing that I remember? Because it's just like, for a while, I've been the only one who thought about that about myself. Like, everybody's kind of like, when I hear things, I'm taking my shirt off, I'm doing it. Hey, naturally skinny people can't do that. Like, bro, I was 150 in 5'3", chubby face, like, did not take care of myself, nothing like that. Belly, everything, man. Like, I work hard. I work hard as fuck to look the way I do and to perform the way I do and to talk the way I do. So when people try to like say like, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. First of all, I got a lot of people, especially for this pro boxing fight. People have been saying it as an amateur, but what's been really annoying me is for this pro boxing fight, people telling me shit on things they never done before. Right? You a boxer. Hey, you should keep your hands up. Hey, you should do that. Got old heads coaches telling me old head stuff, and I'm like, man, then you come spar me. You come spar me with my hands down, and I'll crack the fuck out of you then. Like, that's how, like, man, I'm so ready to fight, man.
That's how you know you're fucking ready.
Yeah, man,
going back a little bit. Being that kid at 12, at 13, at 14 years old, no one could walk up to me and tell me shit if they weren't, and especially if they didn't go through it.
Yeah,
I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell me not a damn thing. If I didn't see you out there doing things that I was doing, if I didn't see, if I couldn't learn something about what I was doing from you, then you can't tell me shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it takes guys like yourself. It takes guys like us who have gone through and walked those roads and been in those situations where you shouldn't be here, and it's dangerous, and you know that you may not leave here the way you came.
Yep.
But you're going because in here you need that money. You got to make that sale. You got to make that move. Like,
yeah.
And so to be able to be here today and say, not only have you left that, you survived it. You know the ins and the outs. You got your street smarts. You've gone through camps. You've done the fighting, and now you're turning pro. You're taking it just the leveling up. Now when you come back here to coach, you're not just coaching. You're mentoring.
Yeah.
You're providing. You're kicking doors down for kids that were in our position.
Absolutely.
That did not give a fuck. That don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that they can go and talk to someone that, dog, I was there. I was in that. I was back there and doing the keg stand and selling the ounce and going into school, like in between classes and hitting the bathroom. And I know where you're at.
Yeah.
I know what you're going through. And do you know how much value that is overlooked? Because like you said, and like I could say to my face, Blue, bro, I didn't give a fuck.
Not
You
at all.
couldn't tell me shit.
Yeah.
And I knew you were probably right.
Yeah.
I wasn't a dumb kid.
Yeah.
I knew you were probably right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you hadn't done it,
then I wouldn't. Yeah,
I didn't want to hear it.
I remember saying the same thing to one of the counselors. I remember one of my high school, there was an incident, and they recommended I talk to a counselor. So that's all I'm going to say about it. They recommended I talk to a counselor. I don't remember, he was a cool guy, and I just told him, I was like, it's very, very edgy at the time, but I was like, man, if you didn't do that, and have that in your hands and have the ability to hurt somebody that way, don't talk to me about nothing. There's nothing we can talk about. And I think another time I really realized that was at Chavez. They did an at-risk youth program, and that really gave me a good insight on looking at myself. At that time I wasn't. I had trained people and mostly fitness and stuff like that, out of Iron Gloves, but I had not worked with kids in terms of their issues and being very similar to how I was. And, that really helped me become a better coach for sure. I think in some ways, I don't think anyone wants to say this about themselves, but in some ways, I feel like I'm a little bit of a better coach than I am a fighter sometimes, because I'm able to see those things and work with them. Of course, here, and not trying to shit on Peoria or anything like that, this is where Siege is, but we got a lot of how should I say, let's just say sheltered kids come in, even some of the at-risk youth kids, 12, 13, hard ass kids, tough ass kids.
Yeah.
And then you got 17-year-olds coming in, nearly grown men, complaining, whining. You can just tell the energy on them, they don't, not even that you're not ready to fight, not even just that, but it's just you haven't gone through at least something that's going to make you shut the fuck up and do your job and train. That's how I know when people come in, they're complaining about this, complaining about that. They had the luxury to do that.
Yep.
They had the luxury to do that. I don't want to assume I know everybody's lifestyle, but I do feel like I am a good judge of character, and I can read pretty well what someone likes, what someone dislikes, what they're about, what motivates them off of that one conversation we have. And I can tell when some people don't like me too, just after we talk. We got people at both of these gyms that don't fucking like me, that I feel it. And, I don't change the way I talk. I don't change the way I do things. I act the same way because I ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. You're going to deal with me. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I try to embody that everywhere I go. Just be yourself, but try to know that, at least for me, my main prerogative is these kids were just like you, man. And, just because you're tired, you don't want to deal with them. That's not, wouldn't you want someone to deal with you? Mm-hmm. God forbid I needed somebody like that. And I didn't have a father figure. I think that's why at least when I was a little bit younger, it's still training too. 2016, 2017, maybe even still till now, I look for mentors subconsciously. I look for mentors. I look for that father figure. And I don't even mean to. I know sometimes I rub some people the wrong way. They're like, what the fuck is this? This grown man wants to buddy up with me. It's just, I just feel like I can learn this. I can learn something from you. I'm not embarrassed to say, I feel that way with a lot of my coaches here. With Santino, I feel that. With Gabe, I feel that. He's my an older brother to me. All these coaches here, they may think I'm just some loud, cocky, little twerp, but man, I love these guys to death. They're my favorite coaches, my favorite team I've worked with. I may have, my moments where I get a little bit pissy, I get a little bit mad, but this place, Siege has given me a platform to do my thing, to be able to do this shit. Iron Gloves, at least my position there at the time, they wouldn't let me do this shit. Chavez would lose his fucking mind and wouldn't let me do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say I don't want to say I've earned anything because that's just going to throw off my brain a little bit. But I do feel like I'm allowed to talk the way I talk. I'm allowed to move the way I move because I put in the work, man. And you know, the shit I told you guys the shit I do on the sides. Like I'm really a nerd. I just ruined my childhood by myself because I chose to I did it myself. I chose to ruin my own childhood because, you know, I wanted to be tough. I wanted to be what a man at that time was to me. So I did that. Yeah, what was needed at that time. I want to say, I don't want to keep on saying like it's my fault, but there was a reason why, you know, that side of me, you know, came out and saved the day a little bit. When I go in there, I have a chip on my shoulder. I don't care if I'm going with some kid who started when he was 4 or 8 and now he's like a 4-time champ. I don't care. I may be calling out a little kid that I sparred with, but I don't give a fuck. Like, you didn't go through the shit that I went through. You didn't see the shit. You're privileged to start so young. You have a loving family that's gonna let you start so young. Yeah. You know, and I didn't. You know what got me here? Like shit, grit. That real shit got me here. You know, I wish I started at 4. You know, but my mom is an Asian tiger mom. Shout out to you, Mom. I know she keeps on saying you need to mention me more in my fights. But if we have to be realistic, she did not want me to fight. She didn't want to support any of that. She thought going to a boxing gym would get me into more fights because I was already, slinging. And I won't even lie. Like, as a coach right now, if I had to look back at younger Ben and how he moved, I'd be like, that kid can scrap. He just needs a gym. So I understood why I got in a fight so many times back in the day. I was scrappy, but I didn't know the technique for like bigger people to not just manhandle me. You know, if they could, I was very explosive and small and scrappy, but yeah, once they grabbed me, I don't know what the hell to do. So yeah. Yeah, I honestly, I'm kind of the MMA fight team really helped out too. It really paid off when I'm sparring with some of those guys and I'm like, or I'm just doing boxing, and then maybe we'll get into the pocket with car crush a little bit. I'll shove them off a lot easier than I expect. Than back then before I did MMA or anything like that, or had any fight team practice. I would be able to, when they pushed me, when they shoved me, it felt so much more harder. And now I feel like I'm like tip of an iceberg type shit. But they'll bump into me and they're like, whoa, you're harder to move than I thought. At least in terms of like when we get in there and we're boxing. If you straight up wrestle me, I'm probably gonna, I'm probably gonna, I like to say, I think when I was doing, when I was doing fight team, I like to I got engrossed into well, I'm a wrestler now. We made jokes, Ben the wrestler, because I was all about boxing. I still am, but Ben the wrestler, Ben this, Ben that. That shit really pays off. I don't know if you guys seen Terrence Crawford wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
That shit pays off. That strength, for sure.
Well, I wanted to touch on that a lot, what you were saying, because it really, a thing that I live by is that it's better to judge a man based off the contents of their character and the reflection of their heart rather than the past they've committed. Because oftentimes, for example, if you think of religion, the Bible, it talked about how it's better to go save and find the one lamb that lost its way versus the rest of the 99. And the reason why that's so heavily emphasized is because you got to think about it, is that a lot of times there's people that's already born on that side of the fence where they have everything and they've never known what it takes to be there. Versus where there's a lot of people where we come from, where we had so much struggle around so much violence, so much bloodshed, drugs, criminals, gangs. We had to work harder to step over that fence and get to that other side. And that's why there's so much value placed on it, why it's so meaning, and why you have chip on your shoulder, why you're so driven, so motivated, and why you feel oftentimes too almost a little bit lonely because people can't necessarily connect on that deeper level because they haven't been through it. Yeah.
I've been feeling, honestly, I would say the only negative thing that I've noticed from my camp is probably the loneliest I've ever felt. No shitting on, my gym or anybody or teammates or anything like that. But, I've been having these thoughts and then having to wrestle with I don't even just say doubt, but just detrimental sayings that I say to myself for whatever reason. I'm the only one running on those 6 miles. I asked some of the guys on the team, teammates, to bust out your bike and follow me on the 6 mile. Make sure I don't pass out. Give me water in between rounds. Nobody done anything. I've been doing all this by myself. And I say that straight up. Like, if anyone wants to dispute that, I've been doing all of this by myself. Anytime I'm with I'm really getting to work with the coach, it's one-on-one. It's one-on-one with the coach. I don't do fight team anymore. I'm not on the MMA fight team. There is no team when I'm getting ready for this pro boxing fight. I think that's why I've gotten a little bit ruthless with it. Is I'm selfish a little bit more now, and I don't. Yeah. I just care about my own progress. I don't care about anybody else's right now. But it is really lonely, I think it wouldn't have thrown me off so hard if I hadn't, cornered some of those guys like 3 fucking times, 3-4 fucking times, and I haven't seen them in months. Months.
One of the thing I always look at, and I always gravitate towards in the stories of champions, is there's always a breakout. There's always a breakout moment.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's when you come into a point of your career or your path to where you get to that lonely spot.
Yeah.
And you start, looking at yourself, picking yourself apart in a different manner.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not in a lonely spot because you're depressed.
Yeah.
You're not in a lonely spot because there's no one around you, because they're all around.
Yeah.
It's because of what you're preparing for.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you look at the great champions, they all have
those moments.
Yeah. Even Rocky.
Yeah.
When he ran up them stairs, he was at his loneliest. Remember, he had just, and they had egged him to get that done. Ali, there's moments in the story, Ali's story. He was in prison and didn't know how to move forward. And Tyson, there's a lot of moments where, and right now you're taking a step that is new.
Yeah.
And it's not new. You've done it. You've gone in the ring before. You've done all this before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's new because it's that level.
Yeah.
You challenge yourself. You're stepping in the ring with someone that is anointed as a pro,
mm-hmm.
that is anointed as that next level.
Yep.
And so embrace it.
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to get that same feeling again, because you're only gonna have one debut.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, that's what I've been trying to tell myself, is just use it to fuel you a little bit. I think if it almost would have maybe been a detriment if I did have someone with me. You know what I mean? But being this isolated, of course I have my, and even then, this is where I bring in my kids. I don't see my kids that much during camp. I take them to school in the morning, and then I'll be training throughout the day. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to see a spot of them when I pick them up with my wife from school around 4 or 5 in between. And then I go, and then by the time I get home tonight, man, they're asleep. I think when fight camp was really starting, I saw them Monday the most, and then probably Friday the most. And we live in the same fucking house, and that shit, dude, man, it messes with you. It messes with you a lot, man. So it's just nice to hear maybe a text from somebody hey, how you doing? Hey, how are you doing? I'm checking on you, blah, blah, blah. And that's just stuff that shouldn't bother me right now. And, I just it just drives me more, because it's without the support, am I going to stop fighting? Am I going to pull out? No, I'm going to fucking fight with or without anybody. You're going to hop on, you're going to stay off. I don't care. But I think when it comes to my kids, that really throws me off, because that's when I get to really let myself down and like be kind with them and be soft with them and be myself a little bit, you know, and I put away the phone and stuff like that. And again, I'm petty, so like, you know, tell me why I got teammates, and maybe I won't even call them teammates. Why we got people from the same gym, same team, liking other people's shit on the same things. They do the same thing as me, but you don't like my shit, right? I noticed that shit. I noticed that, and then I see you guys looking at my stories. I you can say, oh, he's petty. He's worrying about the wrong shit. This shit takes nothing but 10 seconds for me to get mad, and then I don't give a fuck. I'm going in to train anyways. I'm just reminding myself who's with me and who's like been fucking on me, and then we're gonna go forward. Because again, if I don't have that support, am I gonna stop? No. I'm gonna still fight with or without you. But I want to remember. I want to take note who was here for my debut, who was asking questions. Not just hey Ben, how you doing? Oh hey, good job. No, I want you know, like Camuela Kirk, Gabe does, like, hey, how are you feeling? How's your weight? How's this? How's that? And he hasn't done pads. He hasn't done anything like that for me. That's why I have my other coaches at Old School. But he knows that, and he still put in the time to ask me about my fucking training, about my day, about how I'm doing. That's what I like. It doesn't take much. It's not like I'm asking you to tuck me in at night with a little bear. Like I'm just asking for you to do half the stuff that I do for this entire team. I do a lot for this gym, and you know, they know it. I know it. The people I corner know it. So it's like, I really don't understand when it comes to, you know, I'm just trying to dive in deep and do something that I feel, you know, no matter who cares. I don't really care what people think about, you know, what they like about my boxing. I know a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but I've heard people don't like my style of boxing. They're a little bit more old head with it. They like the hands up completely all the time, which I do keep my hands up, but I like being a little bit half guard, you know, more loose, a lot more head movement, a lot of people don't like that. And it's just like, you know, I'm going to do the things that I do because I did it. I've done this shit before. So it's like, yeah. So when I got people telling me, oh, hey, you need to exchange with me more. I got a 160-pound dude telling me I need a fucking, or 150, 160-pound dude telling me you should exchange with me more. How about you fucking hit me then? I'm not going to exchange with shit. You hit me. And if you can't hit me and I make you miss, that don't mean I'm running. That means you can't fucking punch. Yep. That means you don't have range. That don't mean, man, it is a difference in community for sure. You got an MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing guys coming into here into a boxing and thinking they know it, like with just their aggression. You can definitely win a fight with just aggression and heart alone. If you have the will to really want to hurt that guy, but you don't got that much skill, you could get it done. You could get it done for sure. But I also have that aggression to want to hurt you, but I know I could make you miss too. And so that's what I love about boxing. That was my game, man. That's just what I do. I remember the first time I got to MMA practice, I had some fighters tell me like, oh, you need to fight more. You need to engage more. Like, so I can have CTE like you guys. So I can get, you know, MRIs every fucking week like you guys.
I think a lot of people forget, whether it's football, whether it's boxing, whether it's MMA, our goal is not to take damage. It's definitely to freaking inflict.
So hey, say it for people in the back, because some people, you know, they may be confused.
Man.
They hear fighting, they're like, yeah, let me just stand right here and just swing my arms, rock 'em, sock 'em, boppers, you know?
As much people hate Mayweather, why the fuck do you think he's able to do what he does at the age he's at today? Mayweather can get in the ring with most today. It's because he doesn't get hit.
Yeah. You know, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but I don't see why not. I did my I told you I'm gonna say shit I'm gonna regret. I told you I'm gonna say shit. For the test, the evaluation for my brain, this thing right here, they were telling me they were like, you got really high score. Like, we never seen anybody scored like this. Like, how long you been boxing? Did you just start? It's like, I've been boxing since 2016. It was kind of here and on off there, and then I really picked it up at 2020. COVID hit, just train. But I was like, it was the same guy who watched me do my evaluation for sparring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he realized it was me yet. I was like, yeah, well, my style is very heavy on the footwork, the head movement, and I'm very flashy,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. I like being slick. I like bullying a little bit, things like that. And he was like, oh, you're the guy, you're the guy that I did the evaluation for. Oh, yeah. He's like, you're gonna have a long ass career if you keep on doing what you do. He's like, keep up the head movement. Don't listen to anybody telling you to go in there and exchange, And it's just funny. It's like people think I can't exchange, that I don't know how to, or I can't handle the punch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I've even in my losses against these toughest opponents, Sergio Saavedra, great opponent. I think he's the first guy I ever like really lost to. Man, he came at me hard with the knees, and I'm not sure if he knew I was a boxer or that was my
Oh man,
my strategy going on. I was just trying to outbox everybody at the USMTO. That's pretty much what I was trying to do. And I think I'm not sure if he knew that, but he just tried to grab me, throw those knees. And I weathered that shit. I never been, sparring is another story, but I've never been dropped by a body shot. I've never been knocked down. I've never been had to have like days in a hole. Yeah. No, I that never happens to me. And I'm one of the smallest guys here in AZ. I think that's just because I spar with heavier dudes. Even if it's light and we're just working, it's heavier guys almost all the time. Yeah, and the guys I've been sparring with hard, I had to round up the whole short guy committee, skilled short guy committee, and I was like, if you guys, even if you're 150, come out. You guys are my height or a little bit taller. Please work with me. Blah blah blah. I don't really, when I go with them, I don't really feel their shots. When I'm going with anyone my size, I really don't feel their shots. I'm not even trying to be like, I'm tough, but man, it's a culmination of my training,
Mm-hmm.
That MMA shit for a whole year and a half last year, like really paid off, made me tougher. Mindset's more resolved. I'm able to, it's not even deal with pain in a bad way, but like if a little minor inconvenience happens, like, ooh, that really hurt my knuckle, or oh, that really that's a really sharp bone pain on my hip or something. I've been able to like go and get past that. Maybe it's because I've been they scraped my damn head across this fucking gate and shit like that. But I really am able to deal with stuff more resolved as a fighter. Mm-hmm. And before I can even do if it's not my head movement and my how I move, people are very noticeable of how aggressive I am and how hard I hit for my size. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud I was able to get to there because I used to be slow, weak, and fat for my size. You're not just small and then amazing, especially if you never trained. Like I was small, fat, slow.
Yeah.
Cannot be small and slow in this game. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
See, and I feel like what pays homage to a lot of that too, with your ability to overcome things like that, is your willpower. Because you could have all the skill, all the talent, all the capability in the world, but if you do not have the willpower to persevere, then it's going to fall short. And that's why, like, I feel, especially in your case, like I tell James about it all the time, that it feels like everything that's going on now is more than just coincidence. And I was telling him earlier too, it's like God isolates great men not to hide them from the world, but to teach them how to unlock their fullest potential. So when you ask for strength, when you ask for character, when you ask for the ability to overcome everything and achieve your dreams, you're going to be given trials and tribulations needed to develop that.
For sure. My family's mostly Buddhist, so every day I wake up. Yeah. Oh, really? That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Man, I wouldn't have known that. That's awesome. Hell yeah, man. Vietnamese, we worship, I wouldn't say worship, I don't want to say that, but we do, we burn incense in front of the Lady Buddha, right? And there's also other deities. One of them that I choose in Vietnamese, Quang Cam, Guan Yu in Chinese folklore, the Chinese god of war. So I have a statue of Lady Buddha and I have a statue of Quang Cam in there. and I pray every morning and light incense, asking for those things, saying mantras and stuff like that. When I'm at Lady Buddha, I'm just pretty much. I think the number one thing I always say for when it's just like for universal is just good health, good fortune, and just good things for my family, my friends, and others. And when I say others, it's people I don't like. I try to put that out there that even though I have aggression, whether it's warranted or petty, like towards just people in general, I try my best to like get that out when I pray, and just like, even though I can't give you this good energy, I can't give it to you personally. I have my things I'm dealing with. Hopefully I can pray in silence and it gives off that energy to people without them knowing it was me. It's just like kind of going like, hey, have a good day. I don't want you to know it was me that said that. It's kind of like that. And then when I go to the God of War and I pray there too, we light the incense, 3 of them, we bow 3 times, and we put it up there. And I ask, strength and speed in my training, glory and valor in my victories. And I say that like over and over again. It just to the point it kind of is numb, and sometimes some days I don't even realize I'm praying. I'm just doing it. It's just so fast. I'm doing it every day. But
and plus too, with like Buddha, he, like what I was talking about with Christianity as well, with Buddha, he prayed at the Magdalena Lake for 7 days and 7 nights straight while the king cobra wrapped around him and protected him from the rain. When he was in the Dangeshwari cave temple, he did the same thing. And it was because it was that sacrifice to prove the genuine devotion of what he's going for. And same with you. Everything you're doing, your prayers, everything that you work towards is showing your devotion to your craft and to what you're trying to go for.
That's what I try to, I don't want to say like pull it as, but when I'm doing all those mantras and I'm just like kind of repeating the same things almost every day, things pop up in my life and I'm like, whoa, like how'd this happen? How'd this pro fight happen out of nowhere? Oh my God, how much money? Like, things like that, or even small things like, hey, and Ben, you got an extra class, or little tiny things. I'm like it's crazy because it's just it's not I ask and I receive. It's more so like I ask, and I think the universe wants, God or the universe, whoever you want to say is in control, sees me do the work and then grants me, and I don't want to say like, it's based off of merit. Like the universe is weird. It works in ways.
It almost is a merit system.
Exactly. And I merit system. Book of the 5 Rings said this too. I think every martial artist has fucking read this book. And if you haven't, you should. But he says there's he begins the book with the spirit of the thing itself, or the spirit of fighting, spirit of martial arts. That spirit knows when you've not gone on your runs. That spirit knows when you missed out or you skipped training. That spirit knows when you're bullshitting around, when you're lying to other people about the work you haven't been putting in. It knows.
It's crazy because you practice makes perfect. You get what you put in, right? You get out what you put in, and it's like everything you're describing there is that, like, it is like a merit system.
Yeah.
If you go half-assed, you're gonna get half-assed results.
Yeah.
If you cut corners, you're gonna have a bullshit installation or whatever the hell you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is. If you cut corners on achieving the goal, you're gonna get half of what the result is.
Right.
You're not gonna get the whole thing.
Right.
And whether it's effort in the ring, whether just anything. So I do have some questions for you.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna start with this one.
Throw it at me.
Who would you say your fighting style resembles the most?
Man, looking at it now, I used to, back in the day, I used to be called I wouldn't say used to be called, but my trainer would make fun of me and say I'm a dollar store Prince Nassim. That shit. I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh, all right, dollar, gotcha. And I think that was a huge issue I had was I would know how to make people miss, and then I would know how to hit, but I would only do it like, yeah. Now I can do whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want, and it's very liberating. When I look at the tape, when I look at the video, I look at the video. It really, everyone's gonna be like, oh, this motherfucker. You know, if I have to, let's be nice. Let's say older people. I would say, you know, I really like to emulate Pernell Whitaker's defense. Okay. Pernell Whitaker, man. You can say all you want about Floyd's defense, which is impeccable and is good. Mm-hmm. And I like to say my style is more of Pretty Boy Floyd. Not money, definitely Pretty Boy. He's defensive minded. He comes down with his hands down a little bit, but when he's in range, those hands float up to a high guard. A lot of people don't realize Floyd utilized the high guard a lot, and he beats the dog shit out of them every single time. Pretty Boy when he went in, and that's what I've noticed. You know, I'll be able to be defensive, and then I'll kind of trot on in or do my thing and blitz them. But yeah, Pernell Whitaker, man, I try to emulate that for sure. Let's just say older folks here, like older dudes. My gosh, why am I forgetting his name already? My gosh, I forgot his name. He's an older guy. He's Edwin Valero, Venezuelan guy. Okay. I think he's just so scrappy, so explosive, and hits for a small guy. I would say I like when it gets aggressive, it gets like that. When it gets defensive, it gets like Pernell. If I had to say like new school guys, again, this is what I see from my tape, my recent sparring footage. It looks like Pretty Boy. Looks like Pretty Boy Floyd going in there, here, and then when I get out, I mean, you guys have the footage. It kind of looks like that. It's that, and then I try to emulate a little bit of, anyways, just not even anyway, but just the Japanese boxing, where they have, the essence of Mexican style scrapping, American tight form, and he's very tight, and then the almost European style footwork, all blended together to make like a perfect boxing style. That's Japanese boxing style to me, and I love it. I try my best to do it like that, but my style and who I am kind of overrides it. It doesn't want to be as basic. My body wants to let those hands down and bait a little bit. It wants to be a bully. I want to be a little bit of a trickster bully. I know there's fighter archetypes, and trickster bully definitely pins me for sure. Trickster bully is what I am. I want to be like, I'm the monk martial artist, or I'm the monk warrior, but I'm not that guy. I know a lot of guys who are monk warriors, that type of. I'm not, man. I'm an asshole.
Yeah. So, well, and plus too, when you have the ability to do it right, having your hands down like that is actually advantageous because it drops below the line of sight, and you're able to throw in a lot more shots that get past. And it's like they always say, it's the most unexpected shots. It's the one that's lights out. Yep. So on top of that, leading into my question, they could be dead, they could be alive. They don't even have to be in boxing or anything else. And they could be in anything, period. If you could have one person with you as part of your corner, who would you pick?
Oh, that's a good question, guys. Oh, man. He doesn't have to be in fighting, huh?
No, anybody. We've had people use their.
I already have him on my mind, but I'm trying my best to not say what everyone knows I'm gonna say. It's Bruce Lee, man. Bruce Lee, man. Bruce Lee, bro. I think that's my first coach. That's my first coach. That's 5th grade. Before I even picked up a gun, I was looking at kung fu movies and just loving what he did, and just trying to do that whenever I got picked on, or whenever I made the foolish decision to pick on somebody else. I would try to be like, oh, this is my time. I'm going to use this on him, and again, as a coach looking back, I'm like, that kid got some, but yeah. Yeah. I said that at Rage in the Ring one time during the interview with one of the guys, and that's never dude, it pops up all the time. I want to say I regret it so much, but like, dude, that's me, man. I'm ghetto Bruce Lee. I'm GBL, baby. That's what it is. But GBL when it's Muay Thai, MMA, you know, and APB when I'm boxing. Asian Pretty Boy. Let's say another regrettable thing. Let's say that.
Pretty boy.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
boy,
gonna.
You said I resemble Pretty Boy when I'm sparring, so I gotta be the Asian Pretty
Yeah,
Boy.
Asian Pretty Boy when it's boxing, and GBL Ghetto Bruce Lee when it's anything but kicks.
You know who I like now? Umbach Warrior. I forget his name. Umbach Warrior. Have you seen that?
Oh, that's also another movie that got me
dude,
onto
bro.
that. Yeah, dude, I was in third grade.
When he did the damn fucking running cartwheel through the damn glass, the two panes of glass, I said, this motherfucker is bad.
Dude, you know all those were without strings?
Yes.
That's fucking nuts.
When they broke down his stunts,
Yeah.
and they were saying like, no, he
does
this
Yeah.
shit. Like that's why I brought up that scene. I'm like, no. He fucking did a flying like cartwheel through those two window panes.
Yeah.
Dog.
He kicked the man's head with the motorcycle helmet. And hit it so hard the motorcycle helmet fucking exploded. that was crazy. Yeah.
That movie was crazy.
I hope they got paid well for that movie because I know people were getting hurt. Like they did a slow-mo and I was like, no way. He's probably just touching. He's full throttle teeping people through the damn in the face with his legs are on fire and he's kicking me in the face. I'm not worried about the fire. You're kicking me straight
just
up
the
in the
scene
head.
where he's running through the market.
Yeah,
the first one. So many people got injured in that scene.
Oh, absolutely,
so many people got fucked up in that
dude.
scene.
Absolutely, that was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
So, go to meal after a weight cut.
After weight cut. Damn, don't ask me this right now because now I'm like, I want to eat so bad right now.
He's like, I got like 6 meals,
bro. Man, Rubio's.
I will say, we don't do too many of these right before. It's like the week before the weight cut week. You know,
let's just say Rubio's nachos and leave it at that.
Rubio's nachos.
Yeah, and move on before I go to Rubio's after this. Yeah, I actually screamed that after my win, one of my wins at Rage. I was like, Rubio's, not realizing it's 9:00. I'm like, oh wait, Rubio's is closed.
Don't worry, I'm sure they're open somewhere.
Yeah, there's a Rubio somewhere that's open.
Exactly. Man, it's 10:20 right now. It's been a hell of an episode. I know that we don't want to hold you up too much later, but I know any last words you want to say, James?
I just want to end it with this. Going into this, we had already, chopped it up and, kind of started getting close and just seeing each other and, connecting with everybody else. But over this last month and a half of doing this docuseries, just, learning about your upcoming and what your motivation is and kind of like what's pushed you towards making this move. You got support. I'm behind you 100%.
I appreciate that, man.
And I'm really intrigued and excited to see not only on the 27th, but what's next and what ladders and what obstacles you overcome. Because there's certain there's people out here and there's certain people that just have that niche to not give up, to break down barriers that weren't there to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you don't think that you're supposed to be over there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know that side. To you, that side doesn't even exist in your life.
Right.
And then you end up at that door.
It's crazy.
On the other side.
Yeah.
And I just am excited now that I've gotten to know you as much as I've had over this last month and a half. I'm just excited to see what barriers you create so you can break them down.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. I think I need people reminding me, not just me telling me, how far I come. I do need a lot, like, people like you guys giving me an outside look of myself. Am I being too petty? Am I a fool? Am I doing this and that? And I need that that recognition a little bit, man. I really appreciate that, man. Appreciate that from you guys for sure.
And to that point, we all need reminders. I was just telling him the other day, I was like, man, even though we can look at numbers and we can look at all the little things that we've done and kind of have a trail on Instagram and all that bullshit, there's still times I sit there and I'm like, all right, am I doing enough? And am I doing it right? Is there a better approach?
Yeah.
Am I leaving anything on the table? And sometimes you just got to remind yourself that, number one, you are you. Number two, you can only do what you are mentally and physically capable of. And there are limits. There's natural limits that we have. Mm-hmm. Can we break those down and overcome them and push further? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we have to take breaks.
Yeah.
We have to be able to have that work-life balance. And we are human. And we got to remind ourselves of that.
For sure.
And, those are those times where we sit back and we're like, hey, man, I'm feeling it. That's natural. Mm-hmm. That's natural. And as men, we have to have that too. And especially in the sport you're in and what you do. It's a gladiator. You're a modern day gladiator. So you got to be able to be okay with tapping into that other side.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And using it as the right type of fuel. Mm-hmm. So I commend you, bro. Like, you're going through all the cycle of things you should right now.
That I should be doing.
Right.
That's what I'm telling myself. I'm like, this is how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to, you sacrifice a couple friends, you sacrifice a couple things going on, like, to get to where you are. It makes me sad a little bit because it's like sometimes I look back at some of the friendships that have gone since then, and I'm like, I'll give up this pro fight just to be friends with you again. Or I'll give this up just to have this friend group or this vibe we had going on before, and now it's just me by myself. But I'm the closest I've ever been to getting what I want. I don't care if it's like, oh, it's a debut, like to you, to me, this is everything. And I'm so close to it. I can't be too surprised, that you get low. It's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top, and I'm nowhere near the top yet. The journeys is definitely going to probably be something. That's going to be my real fight. I think is the journey of who's going to be on, who's going to be off. Am I going to be petty and take it personally? Am I going to take things personally? But just having you guys, with me and supporting me, and my own teammates and the guys who are still with me, supporting me, still checking up on me. I appreciate them a lot because it goes a long way. I think a lot of guys in combat sports don't talk about this at all. I think that everyone wants to act like they're tough. They're the most badass dude. I know people who grew up hella sheltered that are pro fighters now, and they think they're the toughest fucking thing since they think they're the toughest dude. And I'm like, it's all right to feel vulnerable for a little bit, but it just depends on who you talk about it to. I think everyone, before I even was talking about this, everyone knew I was going through some stuff, but I wouldn't say anything too much. You know what I mean?
If you don't have vulnerability, if you don't have those moments, you don't discover who you can be.
Yeah.
Because you're always, we're, what's the word I want to, we're creatures of habit. So if we never get pushed, we're just going to keep doing what we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, I tell my teammates, I even tell, the guys I train a little bit about that. Like, if you, there's no reason for you to run 6 miles. Like, I want to run 6 miles like you. I want to go 8 to 10 rounds. I want to try to aim for that. Well, why? For what? Are you a fighter? No? Then why? Why even spar if you're not fighting, if you don't intend on competing? And Well, why did guys who back in the day go to war that were fucking buff, or why are people nowadays in third world countries look buff as hell? Because they have to be. They have to be. So if you grow up, if you this is for anyone who wants to fight, just compete. Amateur, you're a novice. If you can't wake up and make your bed, you can't wake up and take the trash out like your mommy asked you to, you can't brush your teeth, you can't do those things, God forbid, do your push-ups, your sit-ups, those things that I expect you to do, that you should expect yourself to do in the morning before you even leave the house. If you can't do that, how the fuck am I going to expect you to fight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a soft pillow boy. You love just staying, sleeping like that and sleeping in and things like that. Of course, that's not going to translate to fighting. Of course, it's not going to translate to fighting. You know what I mean? That shit, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. I think that's the number one thing I did. When I found out I had to fight, I started taking cold baths. I'll end the bath just really cold and try to stay in there for as long as I can. Or not a bath, cold shower. I made my runs longer. Sometimes I little things, sleep on the fucking floor. Make yourself uncomfortable and prepare yourself for that. Because fighting is not for everybody. I don't even think in some cases it's meant for me, in some cases, but my persona, my second side of myself, I guess, my non-softer, vulnerable side is alive. He's there and he knows how to do nothing else but that. He's not no dad. He hurts people. And so, you to prepare for that, you cannot live a cushiony lifestyle. You can't. You gotta be pushing yourself and putting yourself and making yourself suffer. It doesn't have to be crazy suffering, but just enough to nudge you, just enough to make you want to do more. You know what I mean? And that's my philosophy for training. I think if I just stick to that idea, that mindset, I'll make my way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like one thing I especially implore for you as well. Like I always tell James, is that if you feel you have the capacity for greatness, then it's your obligation to do so. And it's the lives that you're going to change in the process that makes it worth it. And for you especially, I implore that because you have phenomenal talent, you have phenomenal potential, and oftentimes when you start hitting a point where you feel that loneliness, you feeling more that itch, that means that you're on the right track. So no matter how lonely you may feel, how many times you may question it, and like the always the cycle of training, preparing for the fight, I just give you solace by saying that you have a community here for it. You have us that have been following with this. We believe in you. We love your persona, your dedication, everything you put into this. And it's, even when looking into Buddhism, Hinduism, and everything, it also translates based off the list of accolades and the achievements that you achieve in this lifetime to pass on for not only your ancestors, but for your descendants. And that's something that we carry a lot in this industry. And that's something that I definitely give you a lot of respect for. So for your family, for your friend, for your gym, and your people, I give you major praise for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
And, I'll sign off with this too. It's dope to have seen your focus, and I want to take you back to when we were standing out. We were standing out there about 2-3 weeks now, and you're like, man, it is different. I do have to have a different mode to be the click off from coaching to coming over there and being the man I am. And I tip my hat. You do a good job of being both, being, the coach when you have to be a coach, but a fighter when you need to be a fighter.
Yeah.
And I'm excited again. April 27th, people. Iron Boy, Celebrity Theater. Come out, show some support. His debut. You've seen him a lot of times at PFA in the corners. With a lot of his fighters, Joshua, Jesse, Mason, John, Chandler, Mohammed, it goes on and on. So this weekend, April 27th, Celebrity Theater, Iron Boy Promotions, my man Benjamin is debuting as a pro. And as you guys know, throwing hands, we're big on the Arizona guys, and that's why we've focused in on making sure we brought light to you making that transition. And we got something special coming for you guys too later on this summer after we get everything edited up and stuff. But we ran a docu-series with him, and we followed his journey through the whole thing. And we're going to lay that out, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. It should be nice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very nice. I think, like I keep saying, we're laying a new foundation for all this stuff. Tabula rasa, which is Latin for clean slate. I feel it's most prominent now with what we're doing. In terms of philosophy, it's best not to be the leaf being commanded by the wind, but be the wind that ushers it in itself. So be a force of nature. Be something that, as you said with God of War, something that is driven, something that's powerful, capable, that could do many things. Mm-hmm. And it's those achievements that'll live on and that really carry for kids, for people that's been in your situation and more.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to say to sign off?
I'll just thank you guys having me on, talking with me this late. I appreciate you guys. No, for real. I mean, some people would just be like, no, fuck you. I'm going to go home and sleep. And you guys could have, but you guys stayed up with me. So I appreciate that. My team at both Siege and Old School, my sponsors, of course, getting me these nice shiny shoes and my new gloves and my shorts and everything like that. Couldn't have done it without them. My mom, of course. You want me to say something about you, Mom? Here you go. I love you, Mommy. My wife and my kids, of course, always reminding me, to be the Superman that they make me feel like a Superman, and I have a job to really be that for them. I can't ever show them I'm not Superman. Yeah. No, I don't care if there's someone bigger than me, someone this, that, and the third. I will always be Superman to them. And the moment they start thinking I'm not, I'm going to do 1,000 things to make them.
That's when the nuke come out.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So just everybody's been with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody's been watching, talking about buying tickets and everything like that. The tickets, no physical tickets. It'll only be on the link off Celebrity Theater. You'll see it's a little green picture that they got set up, but that's just because my opponent, who agreed to fight me at first. I don't want to name names. Trying not to name names. I was advised not to name names, and I want to name you so bad. You know who you are. I don't know why you don't want to fight me. He declined the fight offer. You declined the fight offer, and you going across country to another state if you didn't find another pick other than me. Come on, man. We're trying to make money right now. You're going to make more money than me. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. We're looking for a replacement. I'm training hard. They said to keep on training. So if you want to think about it like this right now, I'm still dropping, watching what I eat, water loading, and I'm going to have to cut without even knowing who my replacement is.
It shows you're a dog, man.
Yeah. So, for my main initial opponent, we're going to fight soon. We're going to fight soon for sure. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
And that's just another reason why it was great timing. And it's the right time for you to do what you do.
Yeah.
Because of that mentality. And everybody else out there watching, again, catch us every Tuesday, 8 p.m. This is the hottest place. If you want to know anything that's going on in the state of Arizona about combat sports, you're going to find out here. If you want to see the hottest fighters, if you want to get to know the fighting community in and out, you're going to get that right here. We bring the human side out of the fighters and put it in your TV. That's what we do. So again, I'm James.
And I'm Josh. And before we dip out, like, share, subscribe, hit that follow button on every single station there is: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google, on the line, off the line, everywhere. Check out Benjamin's Instagram. You check him out. He's going to be busting, kicking ass here this weekend. And again, thank you to everybody for over 1 million views. We couldn't have done this without you, and it's because of you that we keep on pushing forward. So peace out.
All sports, all plays, ball courts, pump fakes, crossovers, and some more. All sports, all plays, ballparks, home base, miss that speed by, that's 3 strikes. We know what's happening in the league. All sports, all plays, ASAP. Cause we know what's going down.